Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Sri Tips here. This is all my filter papers that I've stored up over the last couple of years, I guess, since the last time I've done this. I'm going to try to do a recovery on these filter papers. Before I do that, if you remember from my last video, I had some carrot pieces in here. What I'm going to do is just pick these out, add this to my carrot scrap for a future refining. Put this in with the rest of the filters. This is our debris pile from the hurricane that we had. This will make a nice hot fire, perfect for incinerating my filters. Got to put it on fire now. Here we go. I've got my mask on so I don't breathe any of the powdered stuff in these filters. I'm going to add it to our incineration container. Incinerated. Give it a stir. There's still some paper that needs to burn in there. Oh yeah, we've got this incinerated nicely. Just gonna set it down here now and let it cool off. I've got a 2-liter beaker set up down here with a steel strainer on it. What we'll do is pull all the incinerated material down here and get it into the strainer. And I'm gonna break it up into very fine pieces in our beaker. got all this stuff out of the container that we used to incinerate the paper. And I've got a little bit of stuff down here I'm going to add to the strainer. The last little bit. That's about it. Go ahead and add this right on into it. It's a bunch of, it's like gemstones and stuff. I'll add that right on in as well. Now what we'll do is put this material up on some heat. And I'm going to add a little bit of sulfuric acid. Concentrated sulfuric acid. Dump this right on in. Now what we'll do is I'm going to reach down here and stir this a little bit. Try to get all the dry material in contact with the sulfuric acid. We've got it now. We're going to use sulfuric acid to rinse the stirring rod off here. Can't use water because water and concentrated sulfuric acid do not get along very well with each other. I've got some 29% hydrogen peroxide. I'm going to add a little bit of this now to make a little bit of piranha solution in here. Just a little bit, because I don't know how this is going to react. I'm not very experienced with this. That's how it's going to do. Alright? So we're going to have to add this stuff real slow, drip by drip. I'm going to measure out some of this hydrogen peroxide into a beaker. I don't know how much it's going to take. I guess we'll start with 100 milliliters of the 29% hydrogen peroxide. What we're trying to do here is get the organic material, the carbonized ash and so forth to dissolve in that piranha solution. So we're going to start adding the 29% hydrogen peroxide, just drops at a time, and see if we can get some of the junk dissolved off of our precious metals. And I'm going to stir this and try pouring just a little bit in at a time. See if we can get this to produce a decent result for us. Making lots of heat. Just adding a steady trickle of the hydrogen peroxide in until I get that entire 100 milliliters added to our solids in here. milliliters of 29% hydrogen peroxide. This is what the solution looks like after about 10 minutes or so. What we'll do is I'm going to add a little bit more of the hydrogen peroxide. Measure it out in this beaker. Another 75 milliliters. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to add this now slowly as I stir. In there now, and now we'll just let this set. Hopefully it'll clear up and dissolve out some of the carbon and junk out of there and leave our metals behind. I've allowed this to settle for about, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes. So now what I think we're going to try, I've got some distilled water here. Don't gig me. I know you're not supposed to add water to acid, but we're going to try this and see what happens. And I think we're going to be okay here. I can tell it's producing some heat, which is why you're not supposed to add the acid to the water. But I want to rinse down the sides here. I should be okay. We'll get it diluted enough so that the solids will settle out to the bottom, and then we can get the acid solution off of there. I'm just going to keep diluting this with water until I get to a point where I can do a separation of the solids from that sulfuric acid. This is actually starting to look pretty good. I've got a bunch of metallic solids, it looks like, down on the bottom of the beaker. So I'm going to keep going with these water additions until I can get it to a point where everything will settle out. I'm just going to pour this water in now. I've allowed this to settle. Now what we'll do is pour off this waste solution. What I'll do is just rinse it all over and over, and and get our solids rinsed off real good. Let it settle out in between these rinses. All right, if you look at this, I don't know what that gray material is. That very fine sediment down at the bottom is what I'm after. I think that's going to have our precious metals in it. That's our material right there that has our good metal in it. Here we go. Let's move this beaker with our solids in it up onto a heat source over here. Now what I'll do is pour in a little bit of hydrochloric acid. Rinse down the sides. Some hydrochloric acid out of my squirt bottle. Now what we'll do is add a little bit of nitric acid to form some aqua regia in here. And see what we can get put in solution with some aqua regia. Give this a stir. Some heat, and then we're going to put this on time lapse and let this boil. I'm going to reach down in here and get a little bit of the solution on a piece of filter paper. Check and see if we've got any gold going into solution. There you can see that dark stain indicates we indeed have gold going into solution. I'm going to add a little bit more hydrochloric acid to this. Just a smidge. A little more nitric acid. Couple milliliters. Now what we'll do is reach in here and give this a little stir. And then I think what we'll do is just let this continue to react until all the fumes are gone out of here. And that'll tell us that there's no more nitric acid, no more free nitric in there. This solution boiling for at least an hour. Not regia, so I'm going to pull this down now and let it cool off. We'll reach in here and get another Stannis test on this. Dark stain. We've got some gold in solution. Watch wash down the sides. Some hydrochloric acid. Kind of eager to get a yield on this, so I'm kind of rushing things along here. I've got some ice in here. I'm going to pour our solution into the beaker with some ice, try to cool this off so we can do a filtration. We got this solution chilled. So now what we'll do is try to filter it. And this is filtering out fairly quickly for me, which I did not expect, but I'll take it. This will be our first filter for our next filter refining. Let's get rid of the filter here. I'm just gonna stick it back in this beaker. Don't look too bad. Here we go. We're going to use some stump out this time. Precipitate out our pure gold. Just going to start adding spoons over the end. Here's the first spoon going in. Boom. Next one. Spoon going in. And one more. This should do it for us. 4 spoons of SMB. Alright, let's make sure we've got everything to drop out of solution now. Some stannous. I don't see any gold in solution. Might be a little bit of platinum group metals in there, which is not unusual for those filters. We'll put this up on the heater here. Now we're going to try to give this a boil to get it to settle out quickly for us. I'm just going to go ahead and try to force this to settle out quickly so we can get a yield on it right quick. But it's getting late. I'm getting tired. And I think what we'll do is we'll call it here and call this a part 1 of the Filter Papers Recovery series of videos. I'm just going to let that settle overnight, and when we come back out in the morning, we'll pick it right up with part 2. Okay, this will conclude part 1 of the series. Thank you for watching.